Today on Local Connection, the magical sights and sounds from in and around Vancouver's Coal Harbour. Join us as we discover some of the history behind these famous Vancouver landmarks. On today's show, the scenery from Vancouver's Coal Harbour and its surrounding area. Also, a young singing sensation who's singing his way into the hearts of many. And a Canadian soccer icon and his beloved home team. See all this and more right now on Local Connection. Welcome to Local Connection, the show about the people and places that make the Lower Mainland great. I'm your host, Lola Acala. We are here in beautiful Coal Harbour in the heart of Vancouver's downtown. And a little later on in the show, we'll be taking you on a journey to see most of what the area has to offer. But first, our reporter Maria Rozo visits with a young singing sensation who has graced the set of Ellen DeGeneres' talk show and has since then seen his career take quite the flight.
Not gonna see one more day.
Hello everybody, I'm here with Coal Harbour, independent recording artist and singer. You might recognize him from having been on the Ellen Show or from singing the national anthem on the NHL games or from any of the other performances he's done, because he's done tons. So first of all, I want to thank you for this interview. I appreciate your time. So you started singing when you were 9 years old and You're currently 14. And when you started singing, it all led to this series of events. So tell us a little bit about it. How did it happen?
Well, when I was younger, around the house, my dad had gotten my mom a karaoke machine. And it was mainly for my mom, but I adopted it in a way. It was mine. As soon as I sang on it, I enjoyed it. I just thought to go on with it, and I went into competitions, and I remember the first time I was gonna sing, I was so nervous. I didn't want to do it, but then I did it, and then you want to do it again, and you want to do it again, and it just escalates.
Sorry, but I have no choice but to take my life and just walk right out that door.
And obviously you're very passionate about singing. So what is it that you feel? What's the emotion that you get when you sing?
Well, it depends really on what I'm singing. Like, I feel like I get more emotion in the music that I write myself. It all depends. Like, it doesn't matter to me what genre you sing if you have feeling.
As Coal continued to participate in local shows, his talent caught the attention of an Emmy Award-winning talk show host.
Biggest highlight, the Ellen DeGeneres show.
And how did that feel?
It was really cool.
From Langley, British Columbia, please welcome 12-year-old singer Coal Harbour.
It's funny because we got the call here. We weren't home. We were gone for a few hours, and my brother was home, and the executive producer had called, and he didn't pick up the phone. So we came home. And then we're all sitting outside, and he comes out and he says, oh yeah, and then someone called from the Ellen DeGeneres show, and we're like freaking out, thinking, okay, why didn't you tell us?
Coal's success was not easy, as he was constantly doubted by many who surrounded him.
When I go to school, I always get told I can't do things. I've always been told I can't be a singer, I'm not good enough, I can't do this. But I've been told I would never, ever make it on TV, and yet I have. I've done so much, and the words that people tell you will only mean something if you let it mean something.
Hang on anymore.
What are you working on currently?
I've just finished writing a new song called Abnormal Monsters, and my first single I released to radio was phenomenal, and now my second that just went out is original. It's doing really good. Last I heard, it's at 37 on Billboard. Mainly that, to get it, and with record labels and stuff, things like that, we'll be doing a lot more of. So.
Thank you, Coal, for being with us on the show today.
Thank
I'm
you.
Maria Rozo for Local Connection.
You're an abnormal monster.
What a delightful young man too. Thanks, Maria. His future sure looks bright. Up next, we know him as a man with a passion for science. And this is where some of you kids can learn a thing or two, as our Maria Rozo speaks to the ever-enthusiastic Bob McDonald.
Hello everybody, right now I am here with Bob McDonald. He's most known for hosting the weekly radio science show Quirks and Quarks. He's also a science commentator on CBC News Network and a correspondent for The National. So Bob, thank you for being on our Shaw TV studios.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here.
So first of all, let's go back to the very beginning. As a child, when did you discover you had this passion for science?
I discovered I had the passion for science when my mother came home with a book, which I actually have with me. Do you want me to get it? Don't go away. I got it right here. Here,
Okay.
I don't.
You have it.
Yeah. I don't
Okay.
always carry it with me. I gave a speech and I just happened to have it. My mother came home with this book when I was a little kid called The Planets.
The planets.
The planets.
Okay.
In the middle here somewhere, there's a picture of Jupiter from one of its moons. There's this picture right here. And the caption down below says, from this moon, Jupiter would fill 1/4 of your sky. Then I did an experiment when I was a kid. I waited till the next time I saw the moon, and I went outside and I measured it. Hold your hand straight out and measure the moon. I know sometimes it looks this big, right? It's actually the size of an aspirin. So I thought, our moon is this. Jupiter would be, holy smokes. And I realized that there are places out there that are really different from our world. So I've always been interested in it ever since I was a kid. I just wasn't very good at it in school.
And what's really interesting is that in 1972, you went down to California and observed some of the first NASA probes in action.
Yeah.
And you returned and then something strange happened. What happened?
Well, just before all of that, in the early 1970s, I got a job at the Ontario Science Centre. NASA started sending robots out to the planets. So I asked my boss, I said, can you send me to California where they control these robots? And he said, no. So I bought myself a ticket to California, and I wrote myself a letter to NASA on Science Center letterhead, and I just went there. And the letter said, give this guy a press badge so he can cover the mission, Viking. And they gave me one. So I got in. So here I am. And it was very exciting. So when I came back to Toronto, because there were very few Canadians there, I was one of the few that appeared on television, and I went on the news that night. And I told them, I said, hey, we just landed on Mars, this is what happened, blah, 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 did my thing. And they said, wow, you're really good. Do you want to come back and be a regular science guy? I said, sure. That's the story of my life. It just kept happening.
One thing is that you're obviously very passionate about what you do. Yeah. When you go to work every day, what's your aim for each and every day?
I want to make science understandable to the public. I want to make sure that I act as a translator, and that's why I like science. It's pushing through that ignorance.
And now that you mention ignorance, I'm wondering, what do you think about the education system? Do you think it's encouraging enough kids to get into science?
There's a phrase, information rich, knowledge poor. So information is really easy to get. You can get it on your iPhone. Young people can access all this information, but when I start talking to them about real basic things, fundamentals, they don't get it. But they can give me the facts, but not actually understand the process. And that's where I think the education system is failing. And one way to do that is to tear kids away from computers, drop the iPhone, tear them out of the classroom, tear them away from the arms of their overprotective parents, take them out to a river and shove their faces in it. And say, here, drink
solution.
that.
Yeah.
And while you're there, let's have a look at what's at the bottom of the creek. But kids are also the future. They're the future scientists, they're the future business people, they're the future lawyers and the politicians. So we got to get to them now.
That is a great point. And now to wrap things up, is there anything you would like to add?
I recommend this to everybody, okay? Whatever age you are, but especially if you're young, go around the world. You find out that the world is not only beautiful in many different ways, but people are generally good. It's not what you see on the news. Because the news is all who died today, who got shot, who killed each other. That seems to be what the news is obsessed with. But the world isn't really like that. And you discover that, and it's not so scary. Don't look at the world through glass. Look at it with your eyeballs, for real.
And thank you everybody for tuning in. Remember to tune in to Bob's Quirks and Quarks weekly radio show. And you can also ask him some of your science questions yourself through the website below. And thank you for watching. Bob McDonald, everybody.
My pleasure, Maria. Thanks.
Today we're coming to you from beautiful Coal Harbour. Now the name Coal Harbour stuck after coal was discovered in the harbour in 1862. Coal Harbour covers the area of the Burrard Inlet that lies between the downtown peninsula, the Brockton Peninsula of Stanley Park, and the very upscale condominium district. To the south of it, the financial district. To the east of it, Deadman's Island, where you'll find the naval station and the museum HMCS Discovery, where the harbour opens to the Burrard Inlet. Of course, you will not miss that floating gas station that is within the harbour for all marine vessels. Wow, there is so much to see in this beautiful city, so much culture, so much history. So stay tuned, because after the break, the Jack Poole Plaza and so much more. Also after the break, a reality star whose star continues to shine in the housing design sector, and what Fan Expo has to offer this year. Local Connection will be right back.
Dear Children's Wish Foundation of Canada, thank you for sending me Rory the Lion. That means I'm going to get my wish, and that makes me really, really happy. Yesterday he was sad, but I told him it's okay, Rory, there will only 2 more needles until my wish. I will send you pictures from the top of the Rocky Mountains. Love, Emily.
Imagine the difference a wish can make. Click on childrenswish.ca and give today.
Welcome back to Local Connection. Today we're coming to you from some very famous Vancouver landmarks. And right now we're here at the Jack Poole Plaza. Used to be called Thurlow Plaza, the area was renamed after Canadian businessman Jack Poole, who was very instrumental in helping Canada win its bid to host the 2010 Winter Olympic Games. But unfortunately, Jack would not live to realize his dream. He died of pancreatic cancer hours after the Olympic flame was lit at the beginning of the Olympic torch relay in Olympia, Greece. And to honor Jack's achievement and work, the area was renamed the Jack Poole Olympic Plaza. The Convention Centre too is also an iconic Vancouver landmark. In 2009, when it opened a new West building, it became one of the largest convention centres in Canada. To the east side of the building is where you'll find Vancouver's world-renowned cruise ship terminal. In 2010, during the Winter Olympic Games, it was used as the media command center for the International Press Corps. Ah, so many Olympic memories. I remember being just right there at Rogers Arena watching the boys win Olympic gold for Canada in hockey. It was a beautiful thing and a beautiful time in the city. Up next, our Clayton Timko catches up with a reality star to find out exactly what she's been up to since the last time we saw her in the spotlight.
It was ABC's The Bachelor that first introduced North America to an interior designer searching for love on TV. Well, that was then, and this is now. Jillian Harris proves there's life after The Bachelor, and we're about to find out about her latest venture that puts her skills to the ultimate test.
Love or List It, well, it's a reality show on the W Network, Monday nights at 10 o'clock. And essentially, it's based on the premise of a designer, myself, and a realtor, Todd Talbot, and we are essentially in competition. So we meet a family, and typically one of them wants to stay and one of them wants to go. So my job is to renovate the home and convince them to stay, and Todd gets out there and tries to find them a house and convince them to go. But there's always drama, there's always problems with the home, you know, and that's part of our selection process. You know, how boring would it be for our viewers if we did a renovation and there was no drama?
And according to Jillian, it's not just the drama that separates Love It or List It Vancouver from other design shows on the air.
There's not many home shows out there that have that competition factor, so I think that's really fun. And although Todd and I are kind of at each other's throats, we're friends, so we have that camaraderie. We set up our scenes in the morning and try to think of a way to carry one episode from the beginning to the end. I think the fact that you get to see real estate and a designed home and giving people the choice of what they're going to do. I mean, there aren't many shows that do that.
With long hours spent on set, Jillian has true appreciation for the amazing crew she works alongside day to day.
I would definitely say the behind the scenes, the people who make it all happen. I'm tired at the end of the day. I get cranky, I get snippy, and I forget that they work twice as hard as I do. You know, we have directors and producers and story writers that are trying to think about the best way to frame a scene. You see those people and how dedicated they are and how hard they work. And I think secondly is the design. I mean, I am a shopaholic. I love to shop, so the fact that I get to do that every day for my job is pretty sweet.
When producers approached Jillian about hosting the Vancouver edition of the show, she jumped at the chance to show the world another side of herself, while also showcasing what makes Vancouver's real estate market stand out from the rest.
I got approached by Big Coat Productions and W Network, and you know, it was kind of like, okay, you get to design homes, you get to be on TV, and you get to be close to your home turf back in Vancouver. We're in one of the most beautiful parts of the world. We have the mountains, and we have the ocean, and we have a demographic that's like so multicultural, multifaceted, so that makes us a more expensive market for real estate. We're looking at homes that are $900,000 and they're teardowns. I'm walking up to them and I'm thinking to myself, how in the heck am I going to turn this into something that they'll want to stay in?
Being in the public eye is something Jillian has grown accustomed to over the last few years.
I don't really care if people know my business. It doesn't matter to me because we all have a personal life, so we all know what it's like. So the fact that somebody knows mine, it's like, I've got baggage, I've got, you know, I'm not perfect. I actually had my nose done last spring. I actually got it done because of an online bully who made fun of my nose. And one day I just broke down and was like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna get my nose done. And actually I had had my nose broken when I was younger, and so I didn't really love my nose, but I just kind of got fed up and did it. But yeah, being in the public eye it's lovely. You get a lot of people that say they're a big fan and people that want to say hi and get a picture with you. I mean, if that's as hard as it gets for me, I think I'm going to be okay.
And viewers will keep tuning in to see where this Vancouverite's next design challenge will take her. For Local Connection, I'm Clayton Timko.
Thanks, Clayton. And sounds like Jillian's got the perfect gig. Shopping and designing. Sounds like every girl's dream. You can catch Jillian's show each week on the W Network. We're coming to you from various locations around Coal Harbour. Now, the seawall has become one of the most used features by both locals and tourists who love to rollerblade, bike, run, or take a leisurely walk, you name it. But it is the best place that you will find Vancouver's fittest enthusiasts getting their fitness on. Up next, our Clayton Timko checks out the annual Fan Expo. Let's take a look.
Are you a fan of comic books, sci-fi, or fantasy? If so, how much? Well, it's that time of year again. The Fan Expo rolls back into town, and we've got all the craziness covered and a few familiar faces as well. Stars, stars, and more stars. It seems everywhere you go, you're bound to run into one of your favorites. This man truly needs no introduction. You know him from The Goonies and Lord of the Rings. Sean Astin, how are you?
I am most excellently well, thank you. How are you, sir?
I am doing amazing. Now, this is quite the event. What brings you to the Fan Expo Vancouver this year?
You know, I go to these things occasionally. I was just at a comic book convention in Dubai, and seeing as I've made several movies and a television show in Vancouver, when I was invited to come, I jumped at the chance. It's beautiful all the way around.
And why do you think the Fan Expo does so well? What do you think is the secret to the success of the show?
The show that I started up here was a science fiction fantasy show, and a science fiction show, and I did a Kurt Vonnegut movie in Toronto. I think the Canadian people love fantasy, sci-fi, comic book themes. It just brings people out, something to do for the weekend.
You have played so many different characters, had an amazing career. What would you say has been your favorite role so far in Hollywood, and why?
I would say that my favorite role in Hollywood is whatever the next one is. Favorites are impossible to answer. Everybody wants to know the favorite. I don't have a favorite. Goonies, Rudy, Lord of the Rings, those are the three that I'm most known for. Rudy, of course, the American football movie. 50 First Dates was really fun for me. 24 was a great one. You know.
What is next for you? What's next in your career?
Well, I just did a television pilot called Surgeon General with Jason Isaacs, who's Voldemort in the Harry Potter movies, and he plays the Surgeon General of the United States, and I play the mental health director, and we're just waiting. In the next couple weeks, we'll find out whether we get picked up. So I may be doing a series or nothing. It just depends.
Sean Astin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey,
Sean Astin, everybody.
I just want to say that I love this country.
I'm here with the very talented Billy Campbell. Billy, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Tell me, what brings you to Fan Expo Vancouver?
I'm good buddies with Victor Lucas, who started the whole thing, and so he asked me if I wouldn't come sit at the booth for a while, which I'm happy to do, and yeah, that's the story.
I'm here with the Incredible Hulk and his wife.
Cousin. This is the Uber Mutant Zombie from Zombie Combat Zone, a immersion experience of a paintball apocalypse.
And do you have anything to say?
Ah!
Oh, I think he's hungry. Oh God. Eat the microphone, just don't eat me.
Get in right here.
Okay.
Because he is the evil one. I will protect you.
He'll protect me.
This is a Skeletor.
Okay, that's good.
That's the beauty of Fan Expo, is it's not just one genre, it's pop culture, it's comics, it's horror, it's science fiction, it's celebrity autographs, but it's also the community groups like the 501st and the Ghostbusters, it's the Artist Alley, it's the retailers, it's all the great folks, the local companies like EP Daily and so on. It's that combination of the whole fan experience.
With its shopping, panels, workshops, and of course celebs, Fan Expo Vancouver has delivered another successful year. For more information on the next expo, you can check out fanexpocanada.com. For Local Connection, I'm Clayton Timko.
Thank you so much, Clayton. That sure looked like a lot of fun. And how cool was that to see Elvira in attendance? We'll be sure to look forward to next year's show, that's for sure. We're coming to you from some famous, fantastic, gorgeous locations from in and around Vancouver's Coal Harbour. When we come back after the break, more incredible stories from this beautiful city.
After the break, the reason why we see so many contemporary public art in the city. Local Connection will be right back.
I'm Bob Lenarduzzi. 1 in 3 Canadians know someone with Alzheimer's disease, the most common form of dementia. Dementia is not a normal part of aging. Family and friends are impacted and live with the reality of this disease, which to date has no cure. Don't drop the ball on your friends, because no one should be alone on the dementia journey. Support the Alzheimer's Society of BC in their search for the causes and cure for dementia.
Welcome back to Local Connection.
We're coming to you today from Vancouver's gorgeous Coal Harbour. I'm Lola Acala. Now, the construction of the seawall was the original idea of Park Sports Superintendent W.S. Rawlings, who argued that the waves created by ships passing through the first Narrows were eroding the area between Brockton Point and Prospect Point. And because the federal government owned the park, it was proposed that they help finance the seawall. And the feds did. And today it has become one of the greatest beaches of the city. Up next, we find out exactly who's responsible for all of the beautiful contemporary public art that we enjoy in the city, as I attend a dedication ceremony for a very generous Canadian.
What do you get when you take a beautiful city like Vancouver and add to its landscape? contemporary public art, you get the open-air museum that is the Vancouver International Biennale. Founded in 2002 by art aficionado Barry Moat, the Biennale has been responsible for integrating not just public art all over the city, but also new media and performance art. And this event is no exception, as the Biennale organizers welcome Quebec artist Michel Goulet as he gifts to the people and city of Vancouver his art installation, The Echoes, situated at Kitts Beach.
It's just beautiful. I'm speechless, and especially we have the organizers make this a successful event and make this a reality. It's just unbelievable. And actually, the people of Vancouver should come out to Kitts Beach and enjoying the beautiful environment.
I'm really pleased to be here today with our distinguished guests. We have a good representation of strong supporters of the Biennale from our partners and collaborators in city and in parks.
Best known as a sculptor, Michel Goulet's technique is to create installations based on everyday recognizable objects that encourage public participation. The Echoes, a series of 16 one-of-a-kind stainless steel chairs with English and French inscriptions reflecting everyday aphorisms of emotions and dreamlike thoughts. When the sunlight hits the writings at a perfect angle, the phrases and aphorisms are reflected on the ground below. And in recognizing Goulet's contribution to Canada, he received the Order of Canada from the Governor General in May.
This is useless if you don't manage to meet people, love other people that you don't know just beside you, and learn about them.
After the last Biennale ended in 2011, the installation The Amazing Laughter sculpture by Chinese artist Yu Mingjun was able to stay in the city courtesy of Lululemon founder Chip Wilson and his wife Shannon. As the Vancouver Biennale president Barry Moat explains, these gifts are only made possible by local philanthropic Vancouverites who are dedicated to their city and the cause.
It takes philanthropists like Chip and Shannon to make things happen. Philanthropists like Joseph Wask, one of our ambassadors, to help make these things happen. But those happen at the higher levels. It's $5 through a text message saying we support the Biennale. Those thousands of those small dollars, just like the Barack Obama campaign, are what allow us to do what we do. We are not for profit. We rely upon the sale of the artwork, and rely upon other collaterals, rely upon grants, and principally philanthropy. And up until this last Biennale, it has been international philanthropy that has really supported this. So, every time you have that coffee and that latte, maybe save one of those a month and direct towards the Biennale, and you get a tax receipt for doing so. Wow. And that allows us to continue to do our programs and expansions.
We really are very blessed, and one of the things that the Biennale tries to do is facilitate the donation of artwork from each exhibition. So not only do we do temporary exhibitions in Vancouver, but we want to leave a legacy of great art in Vancouver.
How truly lucky the people and city of Vancouver to have first-class art integrated into their everyday lives as they go about their business in the city. For Local Connection, I'm Lola Acala.
And indeed, we are lucky. The Vancouver Biennale is doing such great work with its public art. Up next, my visit with an incredible Canadian soccer icon and his soccer team.
As a successful former athlete and someone very much dedicated to his community, the legendary Bob Lenarduzzi is without a doubt one of Canada's beloved sons. And I got a chance to spend some time with him and some of his Vancouver Whitecaps.
Now, as far as soccer careers go, you've done it all, starting your career at the early age of 15 with English club Reading FC, to where you are today as the president of the club that you also once played for. Now, if you could share with us, if you could look back to that very first game with Reading, you're out there on the pitch, miles away from home and everything you know. What was going through your mind, and how did that game turn out?
Actually, there wasn't much going through my mind other than focusing on my first game with Reading, my first team game, because I was 15 at the time, and it was against Colchester United, and we ended up losing the game 4-2, but very memorable, and I can look back on it now and pick out a lot of the good things that took place on that day.
As a player, you played all 11 positions. Then you went on to be coach, where you set some of the most impressive records in sport. No team, no sport today has yet, achieved that goal of 46 unbeaten games. I mean, how incredible was that? If you could share some of that with us, some memorable highlights of that time while you and your team were on that incredible ride.
Yeah, I can remember actually where it started, and it was with the Loss. We played in North York, who were a part of the Canadian Soccer League at that time, and very poor performance at the start of our season. And I can remember going into the changing room afterwards, and I was a player coach at the time, and letting the players know that the way that we performed wasn't acceptable. And the next game we won, and then 46 games later we were still unbeaten. Certainly each game was eventful in that every team that played against us were looking to end the unbeaten run, and it finally did happen. I believe it was Edmonton that actually knocked us off at the time.
And when asked what he thought about the level of support from the fans,
what we look to do is just continue to build our fan base. What I will say is that I don't think that there's any other sport in this province or in North America that can compare to the unique atmosphere that we have at our games. We're very organic. We don't put up on the scoreboard, it's time to applaud. We like the crowd to applaud when they feel that what we're doing on the field justifies that, and if they're not happy and they want to complain, that's also good too.
with the Whitecaps' 2013 season well underway, when asked about the fact that the Caps often play better at home than on the road, his response:
we did start well. We won our first two games, and against Columbus, the 2-1 victory, I would suggest that it was potentially one of our best games in our very short MLS history. We went on the road, and that hasn't been very kind to us. It was starting to weigh on us, and for me, winning is habitual, but so too is losing, and I needed to bust out of it. And I think what we need to focus on is just the process of what we need to do in order to give ourselves the best chance of winning. And we hope now that it'll be a catalyst to bigger and better things.
You guys do an amazing job with your charities, but tell us a little bit about that and why it is so important for you guys to be a part of such initiatives.
Well, we consider ourselves a part of the community in Vancouver and British Columbia, and anything that we can do to give back and to heighten profile for a particular event, we're happy to do. In the case of the sleep out, actually it was my son who encouraged me to actually do that, and when he was encouraging me to do it, I think he was encouraging me to do it without him, and I said, well, no, that's fine. If you'd like me to do it, then you need to come with me. Yeah, so he and I slept out, and we're doing it again this year, and it is for a great cause, and what it does is it just shines a spotlight on homelessness. And we were at Covenant House, and we were in with the young people that were homeless, and their stories were very, very enlightening, and there, but for the grace of God, go you or I. These aren't people that choose to be homeless. They've had a series of events that have taken place in their lives, and they've ended up in this situation. A reason why we've decided to do it again this year.
Bob Lenarduzzi, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very much.
I popped in for a few words with the Caps defender captain, DeMerit, who's out of the lineup on injury.
So how much longer before it's all tipped up and ready to go?
Well, when you rupture an Achilles, it's a hard one to come back from. Yeah. So we try not to look at the end result. We try to look at taking things 1 month at a time. You never know, of course, but one step at a time. But so far, so good.
When asked about his drive and tenacity to follow his dreams, which started also in England as a young player,
the best part to try to tell to others is that, these types of things are possible if you go and you give yourself the best chance to do so. And for me, it was all about making the most of my opportunities. It's about grinding it out, and it's about enjoying the hard work. And when you're able to do those types of things in combination, usually the right result happens.
I also asked how the wedding plans was going with our very own Canadian Olympic medalist, Ashley McIver.
It's going to be at the end of August, and we're still in the planning phases, but being injured has allowed me to be even more of a full-time wedding planner. So it's been really fun. We both are enjoying it.
Jay, we wish you the very best of luck, and we hope that you get out there, because we really miss you out on the pitch. All right, thank you so much for doing this.
And with the rest of the team on the road on an away game, I finished my day off with an attempt to score a goal against reserve goaltenders Simon Thomas and Sean Melvin. And with not being so lucky with that, it was a case of where there is a will, there is a way.
That's great. That's great.
I had so much fun. Many thanks to Bob, Lenarduzzi, and some of the boys for having me. I had quite the time at the Whitecaps training facility. Well, that's a wrap for this edition of Local Connection. We welcome your feedback. If there's a story that you'd like to see, leave us a message on our Facebook page. You can also check out our YouTube channel for all of our past shows. From right here in beautiful Coal Harbour, thank you so much for watching for Local Connection. I'm Lola Acala. We'll see you next time.